Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Uncensored Journey podcast. Today, I have invited a very, very special guest. As you all know, there's a segment called Highlighting Our Stars, where we really highlight people who are using their platforms to make a positive impact in society. So today we have Korinne, who goes by Adventure of a Foodie on Instagram or all your social media. She is an entrepreneur, definitely a traveler, a lover of food. And what I really love the most is the aspect of like your body positivity advocacy and a mother and wife. So welcome Corinne to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I am so excited to have you. So do you want to introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are?
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Korinne. um, uh, I go by Adventure of a Foodie on Instagram. I own a project management and production company, Coca Management. I own it with my twin sister, Kayla. Um, so I'm the co, she's the ka. Um,
Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense now.
like, why did they call it Coca?
That is
Um,
so cute.
Thank you. But yeah, I I started my platform about 5 years ago, and it really just started as food. I got connected with a few friends where I was living at the time, and they were doing a lot with Instagram. And I have a culinary arts degree, so I was just like, "Oh, I cook," and they
Yeah.
were like just taking pictures, and they taught me how to take such beautiful pictures. And from there, I just was like, I just want to get 10,000 followers. Like, if I get 10,000 followers, I'm set. Like, I'm totally,
You are way past 10,000.
I'm a little bit past the 10,000 follower mark now.
Yeah.
But once I started getting into it, I really just found like this love of being able to travel and being able to see different cultures and food and places and develop recipes for brands. And then it just kind of spiraled into, okay, so you have a social media account, now you're managing other people's social media accounts. And then that kind of spiraled into Coca management of just being like, well, I know how to do all of the marketing aspects of maybe social media and now regular marketing.
Yeah.
How can I help brands and companies develop in a really influential way?
Mhm.
Um, so then here I am now. Like it just was like one match
Yeah.
lit a fire.
No, I am so happy to have you here because one, I love your social media. I feel like
Mhm.
you really give a blend of family, friends, and just like it's like everything you love is embodied in your social media. And so it feels more natural. It feels very genuine. And you can tell like you're just living your life and happen to take photos and share your life with us. So we feel like a part of the family and your son is so adorable. It's
Thank you so
yeah.
much. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's like a whole other thing that like motherhood is just another
Yeah.
hat.
How is motherhood? How has it been treating you?
It is the best thing that I've like ever experienced. I've always wanted to be a mom. And then I got married, and then my husband and I were expecting pretty shortly after we got married. And
Really?
yeah, it was just like all of the cliches. My therapist says cliches are cliches for a reason. But all the cliches about like you've never known a love like that. It's just so true. He's just the everything I do with him for him
Yeah.
because of him. So like it's made me such a better human, and it's like it's the best thing. Like I love like it just it I
Yeah.
always if I ever post him, and I'm trying to not post him like less, but like I think a lot about like, oh, okay, like I don't there's a lot of people out there.
Mhm.
um and I don't know if I always want to have him on, if he will always want to be a part of what I do, but um it's just like this foundational knowledge of like building your own business and being an entrepreneur. Like I get to share that with him,
Yeah.
and that's like the best thing in the world. Like it's just so much fun. Um,
Yeah. No, it's so amazing. I love that for you, and you can feel it and you can see the glow just from your profile. So if you all are not following her, please make sure that you follow her, Adventure of a Foodie. I will link all her social medias in the description. But I did want to get into a little bit of your upbringing. I want to know, how
oh,
was your childhood?
I had a really lovely childhood. I have a twin sister, and that's the only sibling I have, and she's like my best friend, my ride or die. We've always been best friends. Um, we are complete opposites, and we're kind of for people who believe in astrological things, we're Geminis. So we were born in
Me
June. And
too.
really, oh my
No
god,
way.
I feel like we've discussed this before because
Oh,
I was like, normal. No, no, this was when we first met. When we first met, because I was like,
oh
oh,
yeah.
never met like another Gemini girl. Like I only meet Gemini guys besides my
Yeah.
sister. Um,
Yeah. What day is your I feel like with Geminis is it's like you either instantly click, which I think we did, or
yes,
it's like I don't mess with you.
absolutely not. There's like a lot of a lot of like big energy there.
Yeah.
My birthday is June 12th, so
I'm the ninth.
oh, nice. We're
Yeah.
very close. We're
Very close.
very close to each other. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had like growing up with her, we were always like, um, whatever was going on. Like my parents got divorced a little later
Mhm.
in my like teenage years, but like we've always had, we call it team twin. So like it, it's never been like, oh, this is going on and like this is really hectic. Like we always had each other, and that was like so foundational for us.
Yeah.
And now like having our business together is just like I literally we after college, when I went to college, we were separated. Like that's the first time we were separated. And then
Yeah.
I moved to New York City, and then I moved up to upstate New York, and my sister was still on Long Island because that's where we're from. And
Ah,
we were like separated for like 8 years that we didn't live near each other. Um
really?
yeah, and then once once me and my husband were just like, we don't have to stay in this town. Like, there's nothing for us in this town anymore. Like, where should we go? My sister was like, let's just like all go together. And we did. We like all moved to like a very similar area. And then
Yeah.
my mom moved up here as well. So it's just like
Really?
we grew roots
So you
here.
have the whole family with you. What's
Yeah,
like
and
what's like
crazy.
the
Like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I think I'm about to ask you exactly what you're about to say. So go ahead.
I, and my whole family works for me.
Ah,
Like they work in coca
really?
management. So
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. You're like a super, super entrepreneur. There's like
I'm trying to be.
I'm so proud of you.
You.
Okay, so what's the best part of having all your family together in the same area and the most interesting part?
I love that. The best part is just the like we all get to just spend holidays together. We get to see I see my mom every single day, and I see my sister like once a week. My sister lives about like 30 minutes away from me, but they're such an integral part of Oliver's
Yeah.
like upbringing, and that's like so so nice. The most interesting part, I'm like trying to think like of something like interesting. I think you get to know a different side of everybody. Like I
Right.
think that when you're a kid, and especially in my childhood, I'm like my head was always in the clouds. Like and everybody who probably has known me before the age of like 16 would say like her head's in the clouds. Like I was always kind of like this daydreamer. So I think I romanticized the people in my family.
Mhm.
And it's nice to know, it's interesting and nice to know like who they actually are and like
Yeah.
what they're doing. I think it's so easy to just like idolize, and you should like, I mean, if you feel like you should,
Yeah.
but I idolized my parents and I idolized people in my life. And it's nice to know that like they're making the same mistakes that you're making, and they're like
Yeah.
doing the same things. So that was kind of, that's nice. Like I think that's the most interesting thing is like learning who they actually are.
Yeah.
Um, just like we have a good time. My mom's comedic genius. Like she's so funny. So like there's not a day that I'm not me and my sister are not like dying laughing being. presents. So
So you said you and your sister have opposite personalities. What's the most noticeable part of like your opposite personality?
she is an introvert, like fully introverted, does not I think she values people that she loves, but other than that, she's like, people suck. And I am a bit of a golden retriever where I think that
Mm.
I love people. We kind of we were seeing we were seeing the Barbie movie this summer together, and
Mhm.
while we were seeing it, Kayla was like, I get to know somebody before I love them, and like I really like she kind of and
Mm.
I love them sometimes before I get to know them. So Kayla has like a very filtered existence among her friends, like when her family.
Mm.
I sometimes have like an after filter of like, okay.
Yeah. No, I feel like we're totally living the same life when it comes to that because I have my younger sister who is my complete opposite, but we're like best friends.
Friends.
Yeah, and so
Mhm.
like and she's a Cancer. Her birthday is June 23rd, but
Oh, I love that.
yeah, it's just she's just like so emotional but like private. Whereas
That's cool.
yeah.
I love
Yeah, she's like she's very emotional when it comes to people that she loves. And
yeah,
then I am very emotional with everything. And
100%.
she is,
Me.
yeah, she's totally like, she recharges by being by herself, and I recharge by being with people. So
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to go out and have fun with people. And she's like, ugh, just 1 hour. I can't do the rest of the time, you know?
It's so funny because I think that I've been learning from her of like a lot of maybe the anxiety or something that I've dealt with in the past is probably because I am slightly an extroverted introvert that I need to recharge.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm slowly learning how to do that. But
Yeah.
that's like the difference is that I'm very like outgoing and Kayla's very observant.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny if like in the Harry Potter world, if we're all into that,
I love Harry
she's
Potter, yeah.
I do too. I'm pretty I'm obsessed. But she's a Slytherin and I'm a Hufflepuff, but it's like the best combination ever.
No,
And
it
that's
is.
yeah, I love it. So
I feel like you keep each other in check.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's why we work so well together.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I'm really close with my family, like my mom and my sisters. We're
Mhm.
so close, and well, we all live in different areas, and so
Okay.
I would love to have that experience where like all of us are together. But I feel like we would get tired of each other after a while.
You're like, I'm done. I have had enough.
I'm over it. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk about your social media and how you manage it because I feel like you are very open on social media when it comes to, you know, sharing your experience, your lived experiences, motivating people. So, first, there's the travel and the food part where you are definitely a foodie. And I know previously in our discussions, we got to share about what are your favorite types of food. So, I want to know one, what was your motivation to start sharing that part of your life of sharing like the foods that you love? I know you went to culinary school. So, I want to learn more about that part. What is your motivation when it comes to food?
Um, that's such a good question. I think that I'm just motivated that food is an integral part of people being together.
Yeah.
Like it is just like having that sense of community. You're not going to find anybody like everybody loves some type of food.
Mhm.
You can really appeal to senses, and I love a dinner, like a family dinner with a ton of people, and you're just talking and you're enjoying food. And I think that with traveling, my travels across the world, like that's the most beautiful part of being in a place is just kind of sitting down with the person you love, or if you've gone with somebody, or if not, your new favorite people, and you're just like enjoying and telling stories and enjoying food. I've always loved the nostalgic effect that food brings to people.
Mhm.
And just like what a nurturing, loving thing food is. Like if I love like cooking for people and
Yeah.
making something out of nothing is just
Mhm.
very cool to me. So I
What's
think
your
that's
favorite
probably
food to cook?
to cook. I
Yeah.
cook a lot of French food. I'm classically
Okay.
trained in food cooking. Um, so I'm making a lot of coq au vin. I love making bread. Like I made bread this past weekend because I was just like, we need bread.
Okay,
And bread is delicious.
what's the best way to make bread? Because I've been seeing these bread makers, or like the ones you just put all the ingredients in and it shakes it up and makes it for you. Are those
Yeah,
good?
you can absolutely do that. Like you
Okay.
can, so it's so funny because baking is a science in culinary school. Like it is, you have to be accurate, you have to be measuring. But lately what I've kind of been seeing in like people's creative process is like, for bread you have to kind of usually use yeast, and
Yes.
everybody has like a different way of doing it. You either put the warm water, the yeast, the sugar to feed it a little bit and
Uh-huh.
let that sit, then add your dry ingredients. But the bread
Mhm.
I made the other day, I added everything in, and then I just let it sit near a hot
Yeah.
surface for like 2 hours, and then it was perfect. So like it's really kind of what you want, but I
Mm.
usually now I just add everything in. I'm like, I'm over waiting to feed the yeast. Like it'll be fine.
No, and my favorite part about food is, so I'm Senegalese. In our culture, food is really the staple when it comes to family development because we cook and we eat all together. It's like one big bowl, everybody eats together. But within that bowl, you will know all the personalities in the family.
100%. There's so much personality in cooking, and that's like such a
Yeah,
beautiful thing,
yeah,
especially when you're cooking with your entire family and eating with your entire family.
right,
Um,
right.
that's that's the best thing about food.
Mhm.
That's like my favorite.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you feel like is the most interesting thing you've eaten?
Oh gosh. Um,
Or like the most surprising?
I've had a lot of weird things. I try to try things once.
Mhm.
I have had rattlesnake.
Really?
Tried from snakes, and this was not a great experience. I didn't love it. It doesn't taste like anything. I've had like escargot, being like very French. Like I've
Yeah.
had like liver and the whole thing. The worst thing I've ever eaten, and I feel so bad because I'm like, oh my gosh, if my culinary school ever was like, do you want to be a speaker? It's on my like manifestation list. But I I sweetbreads are pituitary gland, and it's just not my thing. And people
Sweetbreads.
sweetbreads. It has like, if you think sweetbreads, you would think like, oh, bread that is
Yeah.
sweet. No, it's pituitary gland, and it's not my jam.
I don't know, I instantly thought about like banana bread. Is that what you mean by?
I wish, but
Oh,
no.
so
It's
what are
literally
sweet?
like, so sweetbreads is the pituitary gland of so it's like somewhere in the throat. I
Oh,
don't know where pituitary gland is, so maybe
me neither. Okay.
maybe cut that one out. But the pituitary gland is somewhere in our bodies. Should probably research. And I had a taste, and it was with truffle. We were making it with truffle in culinary school, and I faked an allergy to truffle because it was not my thing, and I was like, I can't eat this. I cannot eat the sweet bread. So I was like, I think I'm allergic to truffle. And they were like, oh my gosh. And they made like of course, like a huge deal. And I was like, I'll go to the medics. It's fine. I went there. They were like, here's some Benadryl. I was like, great. I'm going to be sleepy for absolutely no reason.
Oh
I
my
took
gosh.
the Benadryl. I went upstairs, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I just don't think I can eat. And then because I did that, I felt like, to punish myself, I always had to be allergic to truffle because I felt so bad about lying. So like if I go to places now and they're like, "Do you want truffle on that?" I'm like, "Oh no, I can't have
You're
truffle."
allergic.
I absolutely can. I'm not allergic to truffles, but I feel like I have to punish myself
You know,
because
you know
I
what they say? Don't lie, because then you're gonna have to make up 100 lies to keep up that lie.
accurate. I'm still allergic to
You know
truffles
what?
apparently, so
But you're dedicated though.
I
So
am.
yeah.
I'm gonna follow it through. Like I'll take it to the grave, but
I don't
what if
blame you for
people
that, to be
think
honest.
yeah, not. That's probably the most interesting thing. Iceland has a lot of very interesting food. Like they eat
Oh
horses over
yeah.
there. I did not eat horse. I didn't do that. But I've eaten a lot of interesting fish. And
Oh, what kinds of fish have you eaten?
oh gosh,
Have
I've
you had
eaten like
shark?
I have. I have had
Really?
shark.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot of Trinidadian friends and they
Yeah,
love baked shark.
it
So
is.
what does
Big
it
thing.
taste like? Is there something that you could compare it to? You know how they say frog legs taste like chicken? Is there something
Yeah.
you can compare it to?
Um, that's a very good question. I would probably compare it to like a tuna steak. Like an actual steak,
Ah,
not like, but like it's just yeah, it's very like mild in flavor. It's fishy. It's like a little fishy in my opinion, but
okay.
it's not the thing like if that was the last thing I had to eat on this earth, I would absolutely eat it. If it was sweetbreads, I'd be dead, but
Okay,
but
so
I would eat
what would you prefer? Rattlesnake or shark?
rattlesnake.
What?
Rattlesnake tastes like chicken, yeah.
It tastes like chicken?
I just got like I because I have such an elevated fear, I just was like a little like anxious about the whole thing. But
Yeah.
no, it very much tastes like chicken. So does alligator.
I
What
heard
they
it's
serve,
very lean.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah, it's not something that's juicy. I will try anything once and then I'm like, no
I think
thanks.
I think maybe the most interesting thing I've tried, and I've totally lied to my family about this, so I hope they don't watch this because I told them like, no, why would I eat that? You know. But I went to Cambodia
Oh,
and they had like, you know, I didn't eat the tarantula, but they had like fried insects and they were seasoned very well. It wasn't like the insects that like pop in your mouth when you eat them, but they were,
no, it was like a bit
yeah, it was like really crunchy, but it didn't taste like anything. It just tastes like the seasoning that was on it. I felt like I was eating breadsticks with seasoning. I don't know.
there it is. Like that's the thing. If it's seasoned well, you could get away with anything.
But it was good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lie about this later when my mom asks me.
You're gonna never again. It was disgusting.
Again, it was so nasty. Okay, so is there somewhere? So since we're talking about travel and food, is there somewhere that you haven't visited that you would love to visit, and why?
Japan. I want to
Really?
go to Japan so bad. And anytime I talk to anybody and I'm like, where would you like I ask that question, they're like Japan. And I'm like, me too.
Yeah,
Love the culture and I love sushi so much. Like I just
yeah,
would vibe there. I would love to go. I would love to see.
yeah.
Um but
It's
yeah.
beautiful. It's so
Have you
yeah. I love so I have a friend who's in Japan, and like I love the way that the country looks. Like it looks really
been?
beautiful, and the food there looks very robust. So I'm not a fan of sushi, but
Oh,
their
that's fair.
other their other foods are so good. Only reason why I'm not a fan of sushi, like I'll eat the cooked ones, but the raw fish,
Oh, the
I'm
raw
like,
ones
yeah, nothing.
deal.
You like the?
That's
Do you like sashimi?
I do. Yeah.
Do
I love sushi.
do you? So, oh my. So, when you're eating, okay. So when you're eating sashimi, do you feel like does it taste like? I don't even know what my question is here because I just feel like every time,
It
every
is
time,
there's definitely a texture. Like, I think that when you
yeah.
use that texture I am not a fan of salmon sashimi, hilariously, but,
Oh,
like, I do love the lox, which is it's cured, but it's
mm,
still, like, it's got that texture, but I really like, I love tuna sashimi or yellowtail,
yeah. Okay,
um, yeah,
that makes sense.
total big fan of it, yeah.
I just get worried that it's raw. I'm like, I don't know about this.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair. But there's like some bomb cooked sushi. So like
Yeah.
I'm and when I got pregnant, because I love sushi so much, you can't have raw
Raw.
well, they
Yeah.
tell you you can't have raw sushi, and I did not partake in the raw sushi when I was pregnant. But I had a bunch of cooked rolls all the time. I was like, give me a California roll, give me a spicy crab roll. Like obsessed.
No, that makes total sense. And I mean, the spicy crab rolls. I'm a fan of California rolls. I love them. So
Yes.
that makes total sense. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about Coca management, and I wanted to
Okay.
know what was your motivation behind establishing the business, and if you could share more about what the business is.
So I got divorced. I was working at my my ex's company
Hmm.
and uh when we got divorced, it obviously did not make sense for me to continue working there. So I was kind of like, what the what the heck am I gonna do? Like, what
Yeah.
are we gonna do? Um, so I just started like looking at, I was like, okay, I've built my social media a little bit. Maybe I can use that as my resume
Mm.
for, and that kind of empowered me to really focus on social media, but also empowered me to reach out to, and I used like Upwork and Fiverr and like all of the different, um,
Ah,
like VA kind of things. And that's how I started. Um, I just started like applying to things, and I connected with one person who I'm still with today.
really?
Um, yeah, and she's like one of my best friends. Like she's great. And we just vibed so much. And then I was like, she's like, that company is like end game for me. But I was just like, what else can I do for people? Like, let me start, let me fix the social management. Okay, that like social media management.
Mhm.
Let me go into this area. Let me go into this avenue. Let me apply what I had in my, like when I worked previously. Oh, I can do that. So it just kind of grew into this thing, and I was like, what is my job? Because there's nothing, I felt very empowered that there really wasn't anything I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Um and then I started learning like, okay, so those are mistakes that people are making here. Are other people making this mistake everywhere? And the answer is yes. When you're running a startup or a small business or a nonprofit, everybody is making very similar mistakes, and you need to have a foundational
Mm.
system. So I was like, I'm going to just make my job creating this foundational system, giving the best service I can give,
Yeah.
and just kind of grow from that. And if I can do this with one client, how can I manage myself, my time, my space to do it for 12 other clients?
Mm, okay.
So it just kind of, that's how it bubbled. And then I was hiring my sister. Initially, my sister started as my executive assistant and operations manager, because I was like, if I can make this my full-time job, why couldn't I make it my sister's full-time job? So then we started kind of building together and finding like a few more clients that we would just manage their social media or manage their marketing,
Mm.
while building off our first big client. And then I we got to a point that I was like, maybe we could hire mom. Like if we can hire mom on, like then we can just build and build and build. And now it's just like it's exploded that we're,
Yeah.
and we have about 12 people we work with, 12 clients that we deal with, that we just do some things for. And then we have, uh, obviously we're kind of stepping more into the social media thing, so really focusing on my social media and building and growing, and just it's been amazing.
Mm. Okay. So, wow, that's okay. That's really inspirational to hear. I love that you're able to include your family in your daily work life. So I want to
Yeah,
know, what would be your advice to someone who maybe has a small business and is looking to hire? Like, what are the steps that you took?
that's that's great. That's a great question.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to hire somebody like me,
Mhm.
I am going to answer this in two ways. If you are me looking to like kind of find your match, and if you are looking to hire somebody like me, I think that the first thing you have to see is like, where are the gaps in your system?
Mhm.
Um, are you filling those gaps with a how? Because a lot of people will be like, I need a coach. I need I need a software. I can do all of these things by myself. But it's like, okay, are you going
Mhm.
to do all these things for yourself, have no time left at the end of the day? Or can you allocate some funds to empowering or hiring somebody who can double, triple, quadruple your business?
Okay.
Because if that's the case, then hire that person. Because sometimes you're kind of standing in your way of like, money's tight, like, or just like I'm making a comfortable amount. If I'm giving somebody some of that, how am I going to feel in that? And I'm totally like, I've totally been there. But if that person provides so much value that you've tripled your business, then you're making money, they're making money. It's just like a
Right.
happy party. But it has to be the right person, and you have to kind of, you really, I think the thing I see the most is people not having an organizational structure. You would be so surprised of like massive companies that really don't have a foundation and like don't know how to send like a Google Drive link. Like it's kind of people need that.
Yeah.
And tech support is super, like I think that if you were me, like looking for a job and you're pretty techy, like look for people who are looking for that tech support and that administration
Yeah.
support. Or and that's kind of like I very much started as a VA, and then my role just kind of developed and grew, and I started learning about, because I was running a business, I was learning, okay, this is what you do to succeed. We need to do this for you to succeed on larger scales, or like how can we optimize? So really everything is about learning, optimizing, taking back, and just regrowing.
Yeah, no, and I want to validate you in that because I have a career coaching business where like we go in and train recruiters on how to have an inclusive environment. And one of the most like challenging experiences for them is the technical aspect. It's like really understanding the technology. So I want to follow up with, what do you think is the biggest challenge aside from tech, is the biggest challenge that maybe um organizations that you work with have experienced, and how have you helped them address that?
I think a lot of people go for quantity over quality in a lot of things. It may be, okay, I need a lot of help. Let me like divide the work there. Um, Sometimes you just need one person, one quality person to help. And sometimes you need, a lot of times, what I'm feeling is people get so overwhelmed,
Mm,
because that's just like our culture. It's like we work, we try to make something work so much and we get so overwhelmed, and then the pieces aren't like connecting. And now what do we do? So sometimes it just takes a second pair of eyes. Sometimes it takes encouragement. Sometimes it takes just doing the work, like slowing down, taking a step back, and just seeing, okay, let's just write a list of everything that needs to be done for the end goal,
yeah.
and what things are impossible there.
Mm,
Not many people do that. Not people are like, wait, I have an online hat business. I don't work with anybody who has an online hat business, but I have an online hat business, and I am just pushing out these Facebook ads, and I'm pushing them out and I'm pushing them out, and I'm spending $10,000 a month. But it's like, okay, but you're pushing it out to all of the United States.
yeah.
So
How do you
where
tailor it?
where's your ideal client? Why,
Mm,
like, build that. Who's your ideal? Build that perfect, like, they say avatar.
yeah,
That's like the business word. But like, who's that perfect person for you? Who's your perfect customer?
yeah.
Write that out and be like, okay, how would I sell to this person? How would I want to be sold
Mm,
to? And that's just like a very specific, but you can do that for anything. You could do that
yeah,
if you're selling something, if you are offering a service, or if you are in a medical business. Like,
yeah,
where's the bottleneck and how can we just reshape it?
yeah. I was
And
gonna,
very,
I was gonna go into like,
yeah.
what do you think is the ideal client? But that's what they need to hire Coco Management for. So
Hire me and I'll tell you.
yes, hire Korinne, and she's gonna tell you about identifying your ideal client, because I think that's also a challenge that a lot of people have when it comes to figuring out who is your targeted population and how do you connect with them best.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like in Instagram, and I am so I'm so forthcoming. I have made every mistake that you could possibly make with Instagram. I have joined engagement groups early, like way back when. I've done the follow for follow. I've paid for somebody to like manage my account. Oh no, I've made absolutely every mistake you can make. And I'm still just like, and again, like something will come along and I'm like, oh, the algorithm sucks. Let me just like jump into this. And I'm like,
Mm,
it's just kind of one of those things that I'm like, but I'm always doing that. And it's like, okay, wait a second. Who do I want to like, who are my girlies? Like, who do I want to be a part of the community with? And why am I not talking to those people? Because
yeah.
it doesn't matter if you, if you have, um, if you're tagging an account who's sending likes your way. Like, it doesn't matter, because Joe from Montana is not your ideal client. So
No.
at the end of the day, and to get like brand deals and stuff, and I'm just using myself as an example of like my issue. If brands are going to hire me for an insane cost,
Mm,
they don't want Joe from Montana who's just liking my posts because I'm a girl, you know? They want Kelly who is going to buy that product and
yeah.
use my code and use that. And I don't do Instagram specifically for a brand deal. Like, I actually just love the community. But
Mm,
that would be the bottleneck of like, who's my ideal client? Like, where's the quality in my content? And am I speaking to those people? Am I speaking to myself?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's the biggest problem in business, is like, who are we speaking to?
Yeah. And you
And
know,
I know marketers are probably like, that's literally my job. And like, you're right, that is your job.
no, and but I do feel like there's value in having a thought partner. Sometimes people may not understand the value behind the thought partner, who's someone who's just there for you and your advancement and will guide you with what's the best way to take this. And so the reason why I say that is because I also fell victim to the follow for follow.
Oh, well,
And
all to it.
yeah, I promise you it didn't give me any results. Like
No,
not one follow. And
not
yeah,
not one, not one follow. And honestly, if it did give you results, it didn't give you quality results. It
no,
gave you a very quantitative thing.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is so many people want quantity. They want to make the millions. They want to be on the private jet, and like they want to be on a yacht somewhere. And I'm like, with you, like, please invite me. But
mhm,
quantity isn't going to give you quality, and quantity is not necessarily going to convert to dollars for you. So that's kind of what I did. That's kind of my process of going into any business now. It's just like, okay, where can we map this out, and where can we find like the ideal quality and what I can do to get you there.
mhm. I love that. I love that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So I wanted to get into an understanding around your advocacy when it comes to body positivity because I sat on a panel with you and
Yes, we did.
what I want
We
to say is your impact when it comes to speaking to anyone who's in the crowd who may be experiencing certain types of insecurities. It wasn't honestly, it wasn't even just based around body positivity. It was really a broad conversation. I feel like you were able to impact people who were having challenges with understanding their passion and their role in life, which makes total sense why you have a management business. But I feel like you were able to really speak to the people in the crowd about embracing yourself and having confidence and understanding your role. And I want to know what led you to that path? Like, what experiences did you have that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna really breathe life into people who may be experiencing insecurities when it comes to body positivity?
Another really good question. I so it's funny because I think that I've always been a kind of over the top human. And I mean that in like the best way. Like, I've just always kind of been, I started my like my entire high school career was about singing. I wanted to
Mm,
be a singer. I studied very hard in opera. Um, and initially went to school for that. But I never I never had an issue with my body until other people started saying, like, other people really had
yeah,
it with my body before I did. And I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong with my body? Like, because
right.
it was so foreign to me. Um,
Mm,
in my own space of being like, huh. And the moment somebody was like, well, I think you should feel that way, I was like, should I feel that way? Um, 'Cause I never, and even still, like, I sometimes feel like I never have an issue with my body until somebody brings up, "Okay,
yeah.
I have an issue." Even when other people have issues with their body, I'm like, "Should I is that something that, like, should I have an issue with my body because they have an issue with
Mm,
their body?" And it's just, like, it can be such a vicious cycle.
Right.
But
Right.
I was I kind and excuse my French, I don't know if I can curse on your podcast.
Yeah.
But, like, I thought that was bullshit. I was like, "Okay, why am I just like this person has no stability in my life, like, they have no what why would I listen to them?" And
Yeah.
really, I because in, like, high school, like, people are mean, and that happens, and, like, I think that been we've all probably been mean and have had mean things happen to us,
Yeah.
um, and I think just for me, it was just like, "Okay, well, this is my body," and I feel like every time I have felt insecure about my body, I, like, look 5 years later when I'm like, "Oh, I wish I still looked like that," and I was like, "Here I am
You
talking
know,
18," and I'm like, "Oh, damn," and it's like, "Well, at 18, you were like a size 6, Corinne, like, calm down."
right?
Um, like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of one of those things, but I just started being like, "Well, who it's my body, like, it's not your body, you don't have a say in it," and it's I'm a healthy individual and I like work hard and do my thing. So
Yes.
why not? I don't think anybody should. I think you really need to love who you are. And I think that all of the weight I was holding about my body issues were other people's issue with my body.
Yeah. No, you know what? That is so true because, and I didn't realize it until you just said it. I didn't have, okay, so I'm a plus size queen. They know that. But
Love it.
I really didn't start even questioning, like, oh, I'm a bigger girl until high school when people started just, people are mean in high school. So, in
Yeah.
middle school and elementary. But I didn't even start considering that I was a bigger girl compared to the average size until people started mentioning it. And it was like in every part of my life. It was like friends,
Yep.
family, and
Mhm.
then schoolmates. And I was like, why is everybody mentioning it? I'm not realizing
Yeah.
it. And it created this sense of even picking an outfit for school was hard. It was just like, oh, my rolls are showing here. And they weren't. I promise you, when I look back at my high school photos, I'm like, girl, you didn't even have a stomach. And now I'm just like happy and very secure and walking around with this stomach and loving it. And I really wish that there was some way to catch people like earlier in life when they start having those moments of doubt and like really encouraging them to love their body. But it's not much that you can say if someone genuinely has a disappointment with their body. And
Yeah.
I want to know what are maybe things that have worked for you, like maybe affirmative statements or actions. Like for me, it's being in the mirror of like, girl, you're beautiful, or
So
things.
that's so funny because one of like affirmations are obviously so incredibly helpful. But I think it was like Megan Trainor or somebody on TikTok. I was scrolling TikTok and somebody said when there's like an exercise of look at yourself in the mirror for 10 minutes and say something nice about yourself. And if the first day you can't say anything nice, then the next day, like 10 minutes in the mirror and look at yourself and name one thing that's nice about you. And by day 6 or 7, you're going to be like, she's got like, you've got like a smile on you, like, or your eyes are really pretty. And then all of those things will start to develop into like everything. Um,
Mhm.
I'm very like, I mean, I have a husband who's, like, very is always telling me how, like, lovely and beautiful I am, so, like, that's helpful, but I'm not holding weight in anybody else's statements, so I think that kind of just looking at myself in the mirror and being so happy with the existence that I've created in this body, and really nourishing and really just being very I just feel like I've been very at peace with it because when I look at the mirror, I'm very proud of the person that I am and have become, and, like, how can I not be proud of the body that has taken me there?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So, we're going to get into the Make It Make Sense segment. And that's pretty much where we just talk about some recent cultural news just to get your thoughts on it, let your hair down, have a little bit of fun. So, the first thing I want to ask you about is, are you aware of Kim and Kanye's feud when it comes to their daughter's social media presence?
So, okay, so I'm not in the full know about it, but tell me a little bit and I probably will absolutely have an opinion
Okay,
about it.
so I see both sides, right? So Kim is very
Okay.
supportive of North posting on TikTok, and she posts like dance videos with her friends. And Kanye feels like,
Yeah.
because North is, well, Kanye has expressed, I don't want to say feels like, Kanye has expressed that because North is a younger girl, that she shouldn't be so present on social media, and they've had a challenge with that. So it's been, I figured because you were a parent and you are also a social media influencer, I wanted to know what your thoughts are on that topic.
That's it's an interesting topic because I know the dangers of social media. Um oh gosh, I don't know. They live such an interesting world. And I'm also of like there are people who don't show their kids on social media. There are people who do show their kids on
Right.
social media. Um it's a very like you're the best parent for your kid and you know what like you do what you do. I'm kind of leaning more not showing Oliver on
Mm.
social media um in like recent but oh gosh.
I feel
Yeah.
like you have a good balance of it because,
um
like, you show photos and like maybe little videos, but there's some people that like post
yeah.
everything that their child does. So it's like, oh,
Yeah, I try not to make it like I do have brands who will like send clothing and I'll try to like show like maybe the back of him like running or doing something. Because like he's not the meal ticket of social media. Not that I mean, he just like, I don't want to use, and anything that I've ever like made on those, like I have a little account for him so
no.
he can just get set up. But I just don't know if that's something that he would want to be into. I think being Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's kid, you are like in it. Like you are in the spotlight. Like I cannot even
I know.
imagine. She's a presence for sure. Um which has to be scary. Like that has to be like scary for any parent. But I think that Kim's already like they're on a TV show. They're like she's a part of the TV show. So like it's like she's there. I can see both sides of it too. Like obviously keep kids safe.
Hmm.
And the internet sometimes is not a safe
Yeah.
space. But and that's the thing too, like just I mean we just spent an entire segment talking about body positivity. Like if people are commenting and people comment like
That's
absolute
so
horrid
mean.
things, like people are the
Yeah.
worst. And like I love people like on the internet can be the worst.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
where I'm
know.
at, if I'm being honest
I'm
with you.
both
Like, what you're saying is totally making sense to me because I see both sides. That's why I started off with I understand both sides because I really can't even choose because I understand where Kanye is coming from. Like, I don't want my child on social media, especially since there are some like pedos who use social media to look at their next victim or but then I also understand Kim who I feel like is very business minded, who uses social media to um push her businesses and like who do we know of that has a clothing brand that has a partnership with NFL? So like, I get both sides of it.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think also um I feel like there's like regulation, like at least like if Kim knows about it, she knows what's
Right.
going on there. Um, it's not like a hidden, like I know like back in MySpace days, like I would just like post on MySpace and my parents like had no idea.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad that like, if she's going to be on the internet that like there is parental knowledge of that.
Yeah.
Um
No, it's fair. No, it's totally fair. So I think I'm where you're at with it of like I can't pick a side. So the next thing I wanted to ask you about was Lizzo and her team because it has to do with body positivity. Yeah, Lizzo
yes.
had maybe Lizzo has been very vocal with being positive about her body and bigger women bodies.
Yeah.
And then her team has also been expressing their challenges with working with Lizzo. So I'm not. Are you familiar with that?
Is it like the
Yes, like
lawsuit?
she has a lawsuit. It's like
Yeah.
the where she is so much of an advocate for body positivity, and then her team is now suing her because they felt like she was
She
supported.
wasn't at
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, such an interesting thing. I always am like, how could that even
Yeah.
happen? Because like I would be like, slay girl, like live your best life, whatever you're doing. But no, I did when it happened on TikTok, I was on TikTok and I was just like scrolling and I was like, no, like, come on. Like, because initially you get disappointed, but I know people have read the document and obviously there's two sides to every story. I hope that, I don't know, I just like hope it's not like, I hope she's just being a girly pop. Like just don't like just be positive and stay in the space. And I know that I think it was over a dancer if
Yeah, it was
I'm
her
like was
dancers.
it a
Yeah.
dancer? Yeah, so I think that I feel like if you spend your entire platform working like Lizzo is body
Right.
positivity to me. Like was body positivity to me. Um if you're working like on that
Right.
platform, you got to keep it clean, like you have to keep it. But like I want to know like the validation. I want everything to come forward.
Yeah.
I want check balances and
Right.
receipts. Just just to see because it's just kind of one of those things. But like also again, like superstardom, I can't even imagine
It's
what
a
that
lot.
world
Yeah.
entails. Yeah.
Okay, so if you could use Coca management to help mediate this situation, how would you do it? Do you feel like there's like advice that you could provide to Lizzo's team on maybe how her social media marketing should look after this situation? Or do you feel like you would more so support the dancers or like coach the dancers on how to move forward? How would Coca um, be
That is
implementing this?
such a good question. I think I'm a pretty big mediator in my like own life. So I think that I would immediately try to like mitigate the
Hmm.
situation. Um I think well first of all from a marketing
Hmm.
perspective, I think and I know she's come out and like I don't know if she did an apology video. I think she was just like
She
there's a
denied the
lot.
claims.
She
Yeah.
denied the claim. Um I think if I like because Lizzo's like ha- has been pretty like out there open about things, I think I would want and maybe this isn't what Coco would do, but I think what
Hmm.
I want is like I want more of like a story. I want to sit down. I want you to tell me everything that happened. I
Okay.
want to know what like where was the miscommunication because obviously this was like some sort of communication issue.
Yeah.
Um so why did it happen? Like where were you at? How was the relationship? Was it tumultuous? Like maybe you're just not vibing with somebody and like
Mm.
because that's the thing too. It's like what if they're not
Right.
vibing and there are people like there are just people you're not going that aren't a
Yeah.
good fit. Like aren't a good fit. You can love them, but you're just not helping them. What is
Mm.
what was the fit there?
That's very
I would
good.
wanna see, like, all the perspectives. I would ask the questions. I would just be like, "So what happened?
Yeah.
Tell me everything." Um, so really, I would want that, and I feel like Lizzo, in her platform of what she built
Mhm.
previously, like, is somebody who could sit down and be like, "This is" I'm a huge thing like, nobody has self-awareness and, like, takes responsibility,
Yeah.
like,
It's
ever,
really hard to take
and I'm
accountability for, like, your own. Yeah.
accountability huge, exactly, and I think that, like, I would admire somebody who would take accountability, especially when you have, like, some severe you and it's not just one person, I think it's 2
Yeah.
dancers
Or I think
that
it's 3 of them. Yeah.
so, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
What's
You
going
know,
on?
like, you know
Like,
what? I'm really impressed with the approach you took. I don't know why I'm impressed because this is your business. Like you're an expert in the field. But the reason why I'm impressed with it is because I haven't I haven't really heard people say like what is the story behind it? How were your relationships before? And we saw a couple of videos that came out about the dancers and Lizzo having like a really close relationship. But then when the lawsuit
yeah,
came out, it seems like they were very distant from each other. So just like humanizing the process and understanding maybe where each of them, because there's two sides to every story, three, understanding like
yeah,
where things went wrong and being able to reflect on like the positive experiences you had with someone. I really feel like that'll
yeah,
help with the mediation process and humanize both or all parties to the public.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's what I
no,
would do.
that sounds like a good approach for Coca. So Lizzo, if you are watching, Korinne here is an expert when it comes to food.
Got
Exactly.
you.
Make sure you message
Let's
Coca.
sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Oh, thank you for sharing. All right. So I wanted to move ahead to stimulate your mind segment, which is where we play two games. And so the
Okay.
first game is me sharing celebrity names, and if you know them, you would just say a word that maybe you think of when you think of them, and you can decide to elaborate or don't elaborate. It's up to you. So if you
Okay. I
okay,
will elaborate. I just love to hear my
okay. So the first person I am thinking of is I'm literally like pulling it out of my head as we're talking. Yeah.
I love
I was trying not to think of like premeditated uh names. Okay. So the first person I'm thinking of is Donald Trump.
oh god. Honestly, so I'm just going to say like hair. Hair is my answer. There it
Yeah.
is. That's all I
That's a
can
good
think
answer
of
though.
with yeah,
Hair.
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 Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
I'm like
That's a good answer.
period.
Hair and orange. That's all you need to say.
Tangerine hair.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We can cut the beginning
All
stuff
right.
out because that's
I'll
fun.
totally cut that
Go
out
right
and
to the
literally your answer is gonna be hair.
people are gonna be like,
That's
we'll never
probably,
know.
you know what? That's probably the best Donald Trump answer I've heard because it's not so political, but it's not like,
She's a
yeah.
diplomat, you
So
know.
I feel like you provided the best answer because
Hair.
everyone's gonna be like hair. Like they'll start saying how his hair resonates with you. Donald Trump is so funny to me. I mean, politically, I don't like him, but I feel like personality wise, he's funny. So yeah,
He's yeah. He's a big
he
personality. He is a big
he is. He's an
personality.
absolutely big personality. Okay, so the next person I'm thinking of is Gail King.
Oh my gosh. Power suit.
Howard suit. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Or
Ah,
like bestie. Power suit or bestie. Like that
that's.
that's
I feel like Gail's
it.
like the Rock, where she had like
There it
this.
is.
They're both in the spotlight, so they're like it's interesting. Yeah. No, don't
I'm
be
so
sorry.
sorry.
You're
My
so
son is
cute.
just
Oh,
I was oh honey, I know. I'm
sensitive.
almost
Oh
done.
no.
They went out to dinner.
Don't worry. I'll cut him out because I don't know if you
He'll
want
be
him on
fine.
social
He'll
media,
be
but
fine.
he's so.
You're good. Whatever is fine. That's hilarious.
Well, I did want to ask you Wendy Williams. I want to ask you about Wendy.
Oh my gosh, Wendy Williams is also I'm gonna say lips. Like
Williams.
she's just giving full lip energy.
She does. Whenever she gets her tea and she goes, oh,
I literally like iconic.
yeah. Okay,
Lips.
that is so funny. And then lastly, Beyonce.
Queen.
Queen. Yeah.
Queen. Um I love Beyonce. I love Beyonce, and I just,
Did you get to go to
I mean,
Renaissance? Me
no, I
neither.
didn't.
I'm so jealous.
I wish I would like, and now that like part 2 is on, I'm like, are we doing
Yeah,
more? Because oh no,
yeah,
I definitely. You know what though? It just like I felt like everything was so close that I was like, wait, when is it out? And then I was like so late.
yeah.
Like so incredibly late.
Yeah, I was late too, but because this new one is country music, and I've been trying to get into. I don't know if you listen to country music, but I've been trying to get.
Not really, but I'll listen to anything that Beyonce
I
does.
know, right? And I've seen some pretty cool country music in the last few weeks since on TikTok. So I think I'm gonna have a really fun time with this album. Okay.
I love it. It'll be that like that toe in the water for it, you know? Like
Yeah. Okay.
love it.
So lastly, we will do the second game, which is basically I just pick a question from a card game,
Okay.
and then you will answer it. Of course, PG-13.
Okay.
These card games can get pretty interesting sometimes, but it's really just an open-ended question. You let us know how you feel. There's no right or wrong answer, just whatever you feel like comes to mind.
Okay. I'm excited.
So the question is, name one thing people would look at you and never guess that you were into.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'll answer while you're thinking.
Yeah, please.
I am okay. This is so I'm ashamed, but I am the person. I am the person that is on YouTube 3 o'clock in the morning watching pimple popping videos.
Love a good
Oh,
pimple pocket thing. But I don't know people like I feel like people would expect that from
real.
me.
Well, I feel like every time I tell somebody, they're like, "Ooh, how do you watch that?" So, yeah. But something people wouldn't guess when they look at you.
I'm trying to like
Take it.
think. Um, no, that's like boring. That's so boring.
Whatever came to mind, no?
People don't look at me and think that like I love rap music,
Is that what
but
you
like people would
That's not boring.
assume I just feel like it's not like a like boring one. I'm sure there's like something juicier, but yeah, like I do. I love rap music.
What's your favorite song? Or one that you've listened to recently?
Also a good question. So controversial. Like I love A Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye, and it was like kind of pre crazy Kanye,
Yeah.
um, like pre Kanye.
College Dropout was
But
lit, so
oh yeah, oh my no, like I honestly, he's great. Like he does great music,
yeah,
but he's just like
we just
gotta learn. We gotta learn how to just not say the things that are on our mind.
yeah. I don't know if
Um,
you're religious, but we just Kanye is just someone we just gotta pray for.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll pray
we'll
for
pray for him. We'll pray for him.
him.
Oh my
But that's like honestly, that's probably it. I do have one, but it's like embarrassing, and I don't know. So the whole world will know. This is what will go viral, and I'll be like, "What? There it is." I read Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger fan fiction. Like,
Oh,
yeah, that is my
okay.
that's my thing. No, it's like real good, and
I'm not too familiar. What is okay? So what is one that you're reading? What is it about?
I'll tell you my favorite. My favorite is Manacled, and that's dark. It is dark. It
Oh,
is a lot, and she's actually the person who wrote Manacled is coming out. But the book was so good, and it was wildly. I'm not alone in this club. Like, there's a lot of people. But the book was so good that she's actually just announced that she's publishing a book that is based off of this book, but like obviously without the copyright of Draco and Hermione.
yeah.
But it's like a Harry Potter thing. It's a
Oh,
little weird, and
when you said
I
it's dark,
love
what is it? Is it like around death or like what's dark about it?
so it's like it's kind of an alternative universe to Harry Potter. So like if
Oh.
like if if Harry would have lost and Voldemort would have won, what that would have looked like.
Oh.
And there's like, it's very dark themes, like, and there's like trigger warning. Like it's a very serious, I know it's not like, and a lot of people see fan fiction and they're like, oh, like smutty, spicy things. Like, no, it's not that. It's just like a really good piece of literature that I love. I love it.
Oh my, okay.
Absolutely.
One, you introduced me to a new series. You
Yes.
can't see it, but I have like my bookshelf right here. I am a
I'm a huge book nerd. Like I love reading. I
yeah,
love, love, love reading. But I'm sure you could tell that. Like I don't think people are like, oh,
yeah,
she doesn't
yeah.
read. Like I love, and all books. Like I love a good inspirational book. I love a historical fiction. I love a romance. I love just a nonfiction. I love a fiction. Like I love it all.
No, so I'm gonna definitely write that down so I can at least take a look at it and see what
Yeah,
I like.
just see what it's about. It's a good, and I know it's again a controversial thing of like Draco Malfoy, who's like a dick in the
Yeah.
series, Hermione Granger, who is like the queen of our hearts. So like I get it, but it's good. It is
If
good.
anything, that made me want to read it more. So thank you for sharing.
There
Yeah.
it is.
But oh my gosh, I want to thank you so much for joining. I learned so much about you when it came to like motherhood, especially with your business and learning more about Coca, your family, your sister. I'd love to see a photo of your sisters and say y'all are twins.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but thank you so much for joining. I think people will definitely find value in this conversation when it comes to like understanding your passion, your motivations, and just having that self security and empowering others. You definitely empower me, you inspire me to live my whole
Thank
life and
you.
bring my whole self to social media, but still have
You
boundaries.
too. You too. Oh my gosh, you inspire so many, including myself. So thank you so much for having me. It's been like so fun and such an honor. And I hope to do it again.
Of course, of course. Thank you so, so much. I'm gonna let you go get to your beautiful son.
Thank you.
Joining. I hope you have a really good night.
You too. Thank you so much. This was truly like so much fun and such a blast.
I loved it. I love every piece of it.